Hello, hello. Good morning, all. It's Tuesday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm here for Jessica this morning. My name is Jennifer Eubank, and I'm happy to be here for Miss Jessica. And I'd like to do a little bit of flow work with you. We'll get started in just a moment. This isn't my usual spot, as I said, so feel free to chime in and type something in the chat board. You don't have to if you don't want to. Like I said, we'll get started in just a moment. And I have a flow plan for us. And you might want to have either a block or I have a chair here. I've been using a chair as an alternative to a block lately because it's nice and sturdy and it's not quite as far down. So you can still get the benefit of bending forward and having some support, but not go so low. So without further ado, I will go ahead and take off my slippers and my socks, and we'll get started. And go ahead and come to your mat. I'll get this one. I try not to use the chair, but every now and then, or use some support, I have to. Okay, so just come to your mat, and I have my mat set up wide. And we'll start sort of in a wide stance and just bounce, bend and straighten the knees, shake out the shoulders. And then as you're ready, maybe actually pick the feet up and do a little bit of marching in place. And then come to stillness when you can. And take a few breaths, finding a nice still stance. Root your feet evenly. Find the three corners of your feet. The heel, the ball of the big toe, and the base of the little toe. Put equal pressure on all three of those points and draw that energy up from the earth, up the legs. Let it continue into the belly. Lift the heart and go up through the crown of the head, out, up into the ceiling. Take a couple of more breaths like this. Nice and rooted and grounded, but feel that lift at the same time. Couple of deep cleansing breaths. Inhale with the nose and then exhale with the mouth. Couple more times. As you inhale, feel a lift. As you exhale, feel that rooting and grounding and letting go. And then as you're ready, come back to nasal breath. Take a couple more quiet breaths. Just feel the earth beneath you, your surroundings, the ceiling, the walls around you, how you fit into your space. And then as you're ready, you might want to go a little bit wider with the feet. And then we'll start some light lunging, real light. Bend one knee and bring the weight to that side and go back and forth from side to side. And as you go from side to side, land in the heel of your foot, land in the back of your foot. And that will help ensure that you're using the whole leg to go back and forth, not just the front and the knees. You're asking the whole leg to participate, going back and forth. Much easier on the joints. And notice as you go, maybe you're starting to go a little deeper. And you can coordinate this with the breath. Inhale with one motion and exhale with another. And you can keep the hands down. At some point, you can put the hands on the hips. And as you put the hands on the hips, you'll feel a little more expansion in the chest. And that'll get us ready for some arm work, because at some point we will add more motion into it with the arms. Let's keep going. Anytime you want to take a rest in the middle, you can. Anytime you want to pause on one side, you can always do that. And you can go slower than I'm going or faster than I'm going. You decide. And then as you're ready, let's start to add the arms to it. Bring the arms down to the front and then bring them up to shoulder height, maybe a little bit higher. We'll start with basically shoulder height. Inhaling with one motion, exhaling with another. And as that breath, adding more height and more light and brightness. Do you want to start to bring those arms up higher? Maybe cross some more in the front. Maybe start to do something a little different with the arms. Go from side to side in some half moon type or rainbow motions. All the while, keep the legs really strong, evenly working to keep the torso supported, giving your torso more foundation to open up and expand. And are you breathing more deeply because of this? I'm going to do some circles with my arms, cross the arms, go down a few times, and then change and expand out. And that changes that feeling. Maybe add a couple of those sigh breaths. And then at some point, we'll come back down to a little bit more stillness, a little bit more quiet. And then let's go ahead and add either a block or a chair. Like I said, I'm using a chair. So I'll put it's armless, and the back will obscure me a little bit, but you can still see. I put my hands on the chair, on the seat of the chair, and then I'll resume some of these lunges, and it allows me to go a little bit deeper. I've already opened up the torso quite a lot, so that can help me bend and hinge at the hips and find a little bit more space, and maybe change the hand direction. So now my hands are on the back of the chair, and I'll turn so you can see. You can get both views. And you can change where your hands are, wherever feels right for you. And maybe add some arm work here. That doesn't work with this angle. I'll have to do it from the other angle. And then every now and then, if you'd like, you can take a little break and go a little more narrow with the feet and do a chair dog. And if you do that, put the hands up higher than the shoulders to protect that shoulder joint. And you can take a little rest. And then you can resume that whenever you're ready. And I'll turn the chair this way so I can add that twist action. Because at some point, and again, you could be using a block if you like. I'm going to come to stillness with the legs and pick one arm up and look at it and bring it back down. And then pick the other arm up and look at it and bring it back down. And if you don't want to do the whole arm, you can do shoulders or bend the elbow and look at the elbow. That's kind of nice. gets you a little bit, gives you some time to open up your shoulder joints and your upper back and your chest. And maybe you can start to open the arms up a little bit more. And lift up. Keep the base really strong, feet strong, legs strong. Inhale as you twist and lift, and exhale as you twist back down and land. We'll do a few more of these. Notice, is it getting easier for you? Notice that the lower half, the hips, the lower back, doesn't twist nearly as much as the upper part of your torso. I'll do a few from the side, move out a little bit more. So I won't run into the wall this time. And keeping the legs good and solid and strong, supporting that torso, giving the hips and the shoulders the foundation that they need. The breath helps open up. I'm going to take a little chair dog break. Bring my hands up a little bit higher, my feet a little bit closer in. And then as you're ready, use that chair to bring you back up. And if you're using the chair, and then let's come to a wall. And you can come off, you don't have to be looking at the device this whole time. You can just see what I'm going to do and then go to a blank wall. Basically, you stand up against a wall, and my feet are not right up against the wall. They're about an inch out. My bum is the first thing that touches the wall, and my feet find that logistical or that logical place. And I draw the belly in and lift the heart, and then bring your arms up in cactus arms. And stay here for a few breaths, and see if you can really make contact with the wall and actually press into the feet and press into the bum, and keep the belly drawn and the heart lifted, the shoulders and the elbows soft and relaxed, along with the knees. Don't lock your knees. And then as you're ready, start to lift the arms up. And then when you're ready, bring them back down. And keep the feet and the legs and the bum and the belly drawn in, your abdominal muscles working. Heart lifted, so your chest muscles are also working. And use the breath to help coordinate it. Use an inhale to lift, and use an exhale to bring the arms back down. And so we're just sliding the arms up and down. And see if you can go a little bit higher each time. Maybe. And you don't really need to go lower. Again, just shoulder height, maybe just a tad lower can work, but you don't want to go too low. What you want to do is find width and height. So it's more about finding that expansion. Maybe you'd like to bring your arms straight and do this. Ooh, I like this. I really didn't plan for that. Serendipity, baby, but this feels really nice. So maybe that's easier for you. And if you've got limitations in your shoulder joints, and it's difficult for you to bring your arms overhead in positions, this can be really helpful. And speaking of which, if ever it gets too difficult, simply come down for a few breaths, you know? And we'll do about maybe 10 more breaths or so of this. Maybe you can even do This is what I call the fly arms. Remember that movie? Help me! Jeff Goldblum. Or the old black and white version. And this can really do nice things for those shoulder joints. But go easy. So if you have a tough time with these shoulders, this can be very challenging. So go easy, keep the legs strong, keep your abdominal muscles strong, keep that heart lifted. Your whole body helps participate. And we'll do a couple more breaths of opening up these shoulder joints and loosening them up and feeling that expansion in the collarbones, the chests, the upper back, the trapezius muscles, even the rhomboid muscles in the back. And eventually bring your arms back down. And just notice how your chest feels as you bring those arms back down. I feel very high up here, nice and lifted, but my shoulders feel good and relaxed. And I hope you feel that as well. Take a few more breaths. So I have a lot of shoulder issues in this. I've had this shoulder rebuilt. So that's been a really good exercise for me to help stabilize my shoulder joint. That wall helps give me what I need to take it slow and easy. And now we're still at the wall. Let's do a few poses at the wall. Let's do a downward facing dog. So before I said you didn't really have to have your mat at the wall, but you don't really necessarily have to have a mat for your dogs. But bring your hands down and feet up against the wall and brace yourself, feet up against the wall. This is really more like a Kundalini triangle, meaning my hands are not very far away from my feet. There's not a lot of distance. And having the wall behind my feet allows me a real sense of support in those feet, and I can get the heels down. And having done those wall stretches that we just did makes me primed to open up and lengthen in my arms and my upper back and my collarbones. And whenever you're ready, you can come down and take a nice child's pose. And take 3 or 5 breaths in your child's pose. And notice if all that wall work and the dog helped your child's pose. And then when you're ready, we can lift back up. And then I'm going to come back up into a standing pose. And then we'll do a forward fold back into a dog and then to another child's pose. So as you come up to a standing position in your mountain pose, use an inhale to bring your arms up overhead and use an exhale to swan dive, hinge at the hips, and come all the way down. And use the wall for some support in your forward fold. It might feel a little awkward at first, but have the bum up against the wall. The feet are not up against the wall, but the bum is to give you a sense of support. You can really hang that head and lower the head a little bit more. Relax the shoulders and the neck joints and the neck muscles. And then as you're ready, walk the feet forward, hands forward, and then walk the feet so they are up against that wall. And spend a few more breaths in your dog. Nice, gentle, smooth inhales and gentle, smooth exhales. Drop that head, let the neck relax, fingers wide, elbows soft, shoulders soft, hips lifting, hamstrings lengthening. And then when you're ready, shift the weight slightly forward, bring those knees down, and then shift the weight to the back and bring the hips back down to the heels. And nestle into a child's pose. And find whatever version of child's pose works for you. So take a few breaths to find whatever pose feels right. If there's any struggle, fix it. Take care of it. And then spend 5 nice breaths in your child's pose. Gentle, long inhales, gentle, long, smooth exhales. Not to the point where it brings stress, but just keep it pretty gentle. You don't want to bring too much breath into your child's because we want to quiet down now. And then when you're done with that, press into the foundation points. Use the strength of your arms, use the strength of your legs and your bum to bring you up. Come up slowly but surely. And then, since we're near a wall, let's go ahead and come on one side, come on the hips and straighten the legs out. And we'll come into a staff position at the wall. Take a couple of breaths to shake out the legs. And draw the belly in, lift your heart, find a right angle at your hips. Use the wall to give you that support, as well as the floor is giving the legs support and a sense of definition. So press the legs up against the floor. Press the body up against the floor, the torso. Draw the belly in and lift your heart. And soften your shoulders, soften your knees, soften your gaze, maybe close your eyes. Take a couple of breaths here. Find a sense of balance to your stance and a sense of balance to your breath. Inhales last about the same amount of time as your exhales. And then as you're ready, if you closed your eyes like I did, glide your eyes back open. And let's do one more pose. Bend one knee and take hold of that leg with the same hand and do the same thing on the other side. And join the feet together in cobbler pose. And if you have blocks, you could always put a block under each knee for some support. But we won't stay here long. This is our last pose. And see if you can find a sense of balance in your pose here, using the wall, the strength of the legs, the connection to the earth, the strength of your abdominal muscles and the lifting your heart, and the joining of the feet. Can use all these elements to help build a stronger, more expansive, more meaningful cobbler pose. Something with a real sense of structure and order, but not a rigid order. Find that and then release into it. And use that breath to help you release into it. Perhaps use the inhale to maintain the structure and the order, and use the exhale to release into that structure and order. Find that sense of balance between the two halves of the body, the balance between the inhale and the exhale, and the balance between that steadiness and that ease. And what does that do for your cobbler pose? And then as you're ready, let's bring the hands to heart center. Left hand meets right, right in that center with the lifted heart. May you be safe, may you be happy, and may you be healthy. Namaste. And thank you so much for your practice today. Again, I'm Jennifer Eubank, in for Jessica Mason. She's here each Tuesday at 10. And check out our tune-in schedule. I will actually be doing the tune-in tonight at 6. So I hope to see you again. Thank you so very much. And we'll see how long it takes me to get up and come over there and turn this off. But you can stay in this pose as long as you want, or maybe you'd like to do a little bit more yoga because we're nice and prime now. Thank you so very much. Be safe out there. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Take care. Thanks for having me.